Hello, I'm Andrew Price. Welcome to the channel. Do you ever struggle to get a good night's sleep in your hammock? Well, stick with me and I'll show you how I set mine up. Today, I'll be testing out the Snugpak sleep system, which includes the jungle hammock with built-in mosquito net, the all-weather shelter G2, and the hammock under blanket. As well as the basic components of the shelter system, you'll also need some tree huggers and carabiners, a ridge line, tent pegs, and guy lines. The hammock and mosquito net come pre-packaged in this very cool zip bag, which also has the stuff sack on the inside. So obviously, with weight being a factor, you can just leave this at home. And this is the hammock package itself, which is pretty compact, and it's all attached to the hammock as well. Before setting up your hammock, you need to find two suitable trees, like this one and this one. Make sure they're about 3 massive steps apart. So 1, 2, 3, that's about right. To make setting up your hammock that much easier, it's worth getting yourself some cheap 1-inch tape tree huggers or daisy chains like this. This particular type comes with a clear section here and then multiple stitched sections along here, and that allows you all sorts of different options to set it up. Mostly these come with lightweight carabiners like that, and when the Snugpak hammock system turned up, it came with these very heavy steel carabiners, so I've just replaced those with the lightweight ones. I'll throw that one over there, and this is a much better option. So we take the daisy chain around the tree. We've got the unstitched section here that goes around the tree. Try not to twist it, and also try and avoid any obvious sharp bits on the tree. And then it comes through here. And now we've got multiple options to fit our carabiners like that. So we can move it down at any position along here. In order to get a good night's sleep, it's very important that your head is just a little bit lower than your feet. Now I set the other one at about head height. So at this side, I'll be setting it at about chin height here. So I'll just clip the carabiner in to one of these loops. It can always be adjusted again later. And now we can start to pull the hammock out. Quite important to make sure the hammock's not twisted. That all looks fine. And we'll just get the carabiner through here. Now, I don't want it too tight, so I'm going to put it into this position here. And that looks just fine. Now my head end, which is here, is just a shade lower than my foot end, which is here. And then the whole thing is set up so that I can sit in it really comfortably, legs at 90 degrees, and that's the perfect height for me. So you can use it as a seating position. It's kind of got a nice little backrest as well. And if you're lying it diagonally, like this, you're almost completely flat. You just talk amongst yourselves, this is fine. One criticism of Snugpak is that when these hammocks are supplied, they don't have any elastic or paracord fitted to these loops, so you need to supply your own. Now most of us carry paracord, so it's not a problem, but the best thing would be some sort of 4 to 6 mil shock cord elastic, which will be much more forgiving and it will hold this much better. So I'm going to thread this through and I'll show you how it works. I've just wrapped it around the tree once, and I'm going to finish it off with just a basic bow. Just like that. That'll be easy to undo in the morning. If it's very warm, you can probably get away with sleeping in your hammock just in a sleeping bag. If it's extremely warm, without a sleeping bag at all. But if it gets cold, you are going to need some sort of insulation around you. Now, sleeping bags keep you warm against radiant heat. So radiant heat from your body is insulated by that sleeping bag. But when you're sleeping in a hammock like this, that insulation of your sleeping bag is compressed, which leaves a very thin layer of insulation, which means that you're now susceptible to convective heat loss. And that means that the breeze, the cold air that surrounds you, can start to draw the heat away from your body. So there are several ways around that. We could do what we might do in a tent and use something like a thermarest or a closed cell foam mat, which insulates you against the conductive heat loss against the ground. Or a better method is to use something like this, which is a hammock under blanket, which is essentially an extension of your sleeping bag, which protects you against that convective heat loss from underneath. So I'll show you how to set it up. This is the hammock under blanket, which is, it's like half a sleeping bag really, and it has these loops all around which are on shock cord, so they're adjustable, and this goes underneath the hammock and protects us against that convective heat loss. This snug pack under blanket is fitted with this full mill shock cord elastic. It's multiple positions, and that allows the under blanket to bunch up at the head and the feet end. Now I've tied this off to the correct length, so I can clip this into the carabiner at the head end. And now I take the foot end, which I've also tied off to the correct length, and I pull this underneath the hammock, and I can clip it into the carabiner here. So the hammock now sits inside the under blanket. It's got adjustment here, so if I need to pull that up tighter around my body, I can. So I'll show you how this works. Okay, so this is the under blanket. It's now coming up underneath me, and I can already feel a lot warmer because that insulation is not being compressed by my body weight because it's on the outside. Ah, feels comfortable. And in reality, if it's not mega cold, you can probably get away with using an under blanket and a very thin blanket over the top, because most of that heat is being lost from underneath here anyway. So you can be quite warm in the summer, just a very light cover over the top of you. And the next step is to put the ridge line up, and this is the pre-prepared ridge line, which is 3mm accessory cord, and I've got some little carabiners attached to prussiks, which are made of bank line, and this can be clipped at both ends, and we can adjust the tarp using it. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail on the knots that we use now because we've covered that in another video, and I'll be posting the links down below. So this accessory cord has been hanked nice and neat, so I can just pull and it undoes. I'm just going to slide these prussik loops across quite a way. That should be about enough. And now this comes above the hammock straps, and I've got this little clip here. Clip that on there. Make sure it's above the hammock straps and pull that tight. And to finish the ridge line, I'll be using the Dave Canterbury version of a trucker's hitch. And this is a video we've covered before, and I'll put a link in the description. Now that I've set up the hammock and the under blanket correctly, I need to set up the tarp. Now you could use whichever tarp you have, and the tarp that comes specifically with the snug pack is designed very much for a diamond configuration. So you go corner to corner over the top. So I'll show you how that's done now. So first of all, I'll attach my prussic loops. That's the first one. And now I can slide this prussic loop across the ridge line until it tensions up. Now you could, if you wanted to, get a couple of mini crabs and just attach them there as well, but there's enough tension, doesn't really need it. That's a really good area of coverage, plenty of space for sleeping and also doing all the activities you might want to do under your tarp as well if it's raining. But sometimes you might want to extend these out using some guy lines, but today I'm just going to peg it out with some nice high-vis plastic pegs. That'll do. So if it's raining and you need a little bit more space to do whatever you need to do, you can just tie this on into a roof. You've got a lot of space to work under here, and then when you're ready for bed, you can just pull it back down and peg it in. Oh, that was perfect. Well, that's me set up for the night. Really looking forward to testing this out. Now, I'm really impressed with this Snugpak sleep system. It's not perfect. It does require a few tweaks to make it very user-friendly. Certainly need things like some shock cord elastic to hold the mosquito net up, and the prusik loops for the ridge line. Just the sort of things that you might want to do just to improve it before you take it out camping. But in all, I would say this is a very decent mid-price range sleep system. Definitely worth investing in. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our weekly content, which is uploaded at 1 PM UK time every Saturday. And comment down below, what do you think of hammock camping? Do you like to swing in the trees, or are you more of a dirt dweller? Do you have any good tips for making hammock camping more comfortable? Let me know. I'll catch you next time.